This is a story about a boy whose mother is a slave. He is separated from her when he is only few weeks old. After that, his grandmother takes care of him. When he is 6 years old, his grandmother takes him to plantation to work and leaves him there intentionally. He never recovers from this betrayal. Later on, he is sent to work for a ship carpenter by his master. Despite a ban on teaching slaves, the carpenter's wife starts teaching him the English alphabet. But soon, her husband finds out and forces her to stop teaching him. Determined to read and write, he continued to learn from neighborhood. By giving away his food in exchange for lesson. As his knowledge and vocabulary grow, he begins to read newspaper in political books. The more he reads, the more aware he becomes of the social injustice against him. One day, he buys a copy of Columbian Orator, a popular school book, which helps him to understand the power of spoken word. He learns that educating his people is the key to fight against social injustice. So he starts holding church services to teach other slaves how to read and write. His weekly services grow in popularity with over 40 slaves attending, but soon angry slave owner shut down his class and he gets sold to a new master. His new master is a form of a human being. He enjoys whipping his slaves who once follow orders. Our hero endures this brutal whipping for about 6 months until he can't take it anymore, and one day he fights back the fight between him and the brutal master. Lasts for 2 hours and eventually the master surrenders on that day. He restores his sense of self-worth and he vows to never let anyone beat him again. At the age of 20, after 2 unsuccessful attempts, he finally escapes from the slavery by impersonating the sailor and flees to the north to continue fighting against injustice against his people. He decided to spread his knowledge and wisdom. Whenever and wherever he can attend abolitionist meeting. In 1841, after attending an abolitionist convention, he takes the opportunity to become a lecturer of anti-slavery society. This leads to him to public speaking and writing. Soon he starts writing and publishing books on slavery and founds an anti-slavery newspaper titled The Star. A lot of white people are not happy and they don't want to let him to do these things. And one day, while participating in a lecturing tour, he chased and beaten by an angry mob before being risked by a local family. But he is determined to continue fighting his fight against injustice. In addition to abolition, he also participating in the first Women's Rights Convention. Soon, Frederick Douglass is recognized internationally as a human rights leader fighting against the slavery system. Standing in for women's rights, he goes on to become a trusted advisor of President Abraham Lincoln. He advises the president on the treatment of black soldiers and urges him to give all black men and women right to vote. In 1863, President Lincoln declares the freedom of all slaves. Douglass becomes the first African American citizen to hold a high US government rank. He is also the first black person to receive a vice presidential nomination, although he didn't campaign for the office. He keeps on inspiring people to use the power of education to effect positive change in themselves and society. His words will inspire future presidents and inspire those who will fight for justice. Frederick's journey teaches us to never give up in the face to adversity. Frederick Douglass once famously said, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet depreciate agitation of men who want crop without plowing up to the ground, they want rain without thunder and lightning. They want ocean without the awful wash of its many water. This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be both, moral and physical. But it must be struggle. Thanks for watching and always stay happy.